What's up, geeks? It's your favorite retro soldier's favorite nerd, and I'm just getting back home from seeing Captain America: A Winter Soldier. And you can tell I went out in public because I got my fancy socks on. So we rock the black socks when we go out in public with the sweatpants and house slippers and robe. Good solid unit. We're checking out in the theater. It's cool. 9 stars.
8. Definitely better than a 7. Definitely better than a 7.
I think it's good. I think it's solid. I hope my mask is straight. People leave me bad comments when my mask isn't straight.
In case you didn't notice, the mask is on crooked on purpose.
The positive sides, I think that the guy who plays Captain America, I don't even know his name, Human Torch, he does a great job. He really portrays that side of Captain America, being like the optimist, so to speak. The best that we have to offer it in a human sense. I think that Scarlett Johansson did a good job, and she adds. I'm not going to try to give any spoilers with this, so she adds some complexity to her role, and some arcs start to develop with her, where she's kind of been a pretty stagnant character.
And Scarlett Johansson. That's probably a little creepy in the mask. It's not any less creepy with the mask off.
I liked Falcon, and I liked the fact that they when they introduce new characters, and they stay true to those characters, and even though there's he's not wearing a red spandex suit with feathered wings, it still kind of works, and he still feels kind of right for the role. Some good Easter eggs, for the comic book fans. Some name drops, some Easter eggs.
Not necessarily anything that'll make you go like, but some good stuff nonetheless.
I'm trying not to give any spoilers, so I'm trying to be careful about what I say. I mean, those who know the story know there's a pretty big twist. It's almost pretty obvious at this point, I think. But for those that don't, I'm trying to be sensitive. Sensitive to those things. Another positive thing is the special effects. Like, I think we're getting to a point in movies where we can no longer even really deem special effects as a positive. Like, there's no excuse anymore. Everything's top notch. So there's no excuse for the special effects not to be. But it wasn't gratuitous, I felt like. And I also felt like it wasn't, there's some bits at the end maybe that are, but overall it wasn't over the top. And I also felt like the 3D wasn't over the top. There wasn't a whole lot of like, he's that way, like where I remember, oh yeah, this is a 3D movie, and that's the gimmick to it. There wasn't really any of that. I like the fact that they're starting to develop a really complex web of ideas and characters and themes, and the universe is really being fleshed out of the Marvel Universe. I think that that's super cool. I'm really interested to see where they take Guardians of the Galaxy, because it seems like that's going to play heavy into this tangled web. And my prediction is that Guardians of the Galaxy is going to be the sleeper of the year. Just my prediction. Like, you'll walk in with no expectations, walking out thinking it was great.
The more of these things that start to come out, though, the more irritated you get that Marvel doesn't own the rights to all of the franchises. Sony's got Spider-Man, Fox has got X-Men and Fantastic Four, to a point where I don't even think they could say the word mutant in Captain America. I think they had to say, like, use alternate language, like little miracles. Kinda weak.
You can tell that there's a lot going on different levels and layers, and it's kind of up to the viewer to dig in and see where they want to take it. Apparently it's tied into the TV show, and if you're watching the TV show, the S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show, then you'll have a little bit more appreciation for some of the things that happen, including some pretty big changes. The negative aspects, I feel like the Winter Soldier character himself, without giving anything away, they didn't really dive into that character. They try to make him look cool, and they give him a little guitar riff whenever he comes on, and there's actually like part of the music, which is done by Alan Silvestri, I think. He did Delta Force. I don't know why I know that. The Chuck Norris unit with the motorcycle with the missiles on it. Anyway, he did that, but I kind of feel like it kind of reminded me a little bit of Joker from Dark Knight. Like how Joker had that like high-pitched like guitar, or It's like a razor blade across a guitar string, and this one kind of has like this scream guitar sound. Every time he comes on, it just reminded me of it. He looks cool, he acts cool, he fights cool, he does all the cool stuff. It's cool. But they don't really dive. There's a lot of depth with Winter Soldier in relation to Captain America and how it all pans out, and they don't really dive into that at all. I mean, they touch on it. They definitely discuss it, but there's a lot left to go there, and they may go into it in the future. Who knows? But they certainly didn't take this opportunity to do it. I don't really feel like I know what's going on in Winter Soldier at all. If I try to detach myself from the comics, and I'm not sure if I would even get it. The comics do a really good job with it, and I'm not sure that the movie does as well as really mapping out who that character is, the Winter Soldier. But what are you going to do? You can't win them all. Sometimes I get a little tired of the overall Marvel superhero villain room of the dark secret laboratory where everybody's got beakers and Bunsen burners, or in the Avengers movies they're all like S.H.I.E.L.D. people that are like, oh, I see that satellites triangulated on the nuclear position of the story plot that I'm now going to use to move the story ahead. Got it, sir. Coming right up. Stan Lee, of course, makes his signature appearance. I gotta be honest with you, it's starting to seem a little forced. I like it when it was more subtle, when you actually had to look for him. Now they're like, there's Stan Lee. Do you notice him? Him and Jack Kirby created most of these Marvel icons. Appreciate him. We'll make him say a few ironic lines. But he's Stan Lee. What are you going to do? Tell him he's wrong? You can't tell Stan Lee he's wrong. And for all you snobs, the dialogue and all that stuff is fine. I mean, it does what it's supposed to do. There's some touch and go moments of a little bit of campiness, but definitely not over the top. Definitely not too much. Definitely not as bad as the last 10 minutes of Thor 2, which I did enjoy, but definitely not that bad. I mean, it's comic books we're talking about. I love comic books. I think that they're great. I think that they're widely underappreciated in the literature or literary word. Probably because guys that are fans of them use words like literature when they should use literary, but whatever. I think that they're widely underappreciated. That being said, we're not talking about Shakespeare, so the dialogue's just fine. There's a small level of campiness to it, and a little bit of like, wait a minute, you guys are tactically trained soldiers. Why are you using ninjutsu? There's also some convenient plot things that happen where like you can tell something happened and then they jump to something else, but you don't really know how they got there. You just have to kind of take it on the chin that, yeah, they probably worked it out. In terms of Marvel movies, I'd rank it pretty high. It's up there. It's probably not as good as maybe Iron Man 1, not as good as maybe, in my opinion, Thor 2. Not as good as X-Men 2, but it's up there. It's easily up there. And the stuff that there is stuff at the end of the movie is typical Marvel fashion, but there's two scenes, one halfway through the credits after they do the cast, and then one at the end. Definitely stick around for the one after the cast. If time is of the essence and you got like an appointment, the one at the end is, they're kind of getting lazy on the one at the end. But the first one is nice. They should maybe just stick to one. I know what everybody's thinking, but I didn't mention Avengers. And before I do that, I want to give a little bit of a disclaimer. Would you guys mind joining me for a second? You see, I know how you fanboys are. And you guys get emotional when people say things you don't agree with. So these are two friends of mine. And I've had to acquire their services before I go and tell you this bit of information. I'm not crazy about Avengers, the movie. It's okay, but I'm not crazy about it. This is my buddy Mikey Shoulders. He's a big burly fella. So if you're looking for trouble, you can come, but he's going to be in the way between you and me. And this is Dante. Now, he's not as burly, but he has severe chemical imbalances going on in that head of his. And he's also in the way. So, take all that into consideration before you come looking for me. And I'm sorry if you don't agree with me, but I just don't think Avengers is as great as people make it out to be. It's fun. It's good fun. There's good action. There's all that. But it's just not as solid. It's kind of like these aliens, and this one they're teaming up, and you don't really know why. And Loki is teaming up with them, and it's just, we're going to get Earth. You win? Yeah, let's get them. But I just thought I said, before I said that, I'd make sure that you know that if you're coming for me, come heavy, fanboys. I've already had one of you knuckleheads get a little crazy on the internet with me, but I just had to cover my bases. Well, you guys can grab a beer or something, man. It's good. You guys are good. Back to the movie, though. It's definitely worth seeing. It's definitely worth seeing in theater. I like how Captain America's shield is definitely part of him now. He's like, he's comfortable with it. He's using it like it's an extension of himself. It's almost like Thor and the hammer, to a lesser extent, but it's good. I'm going to see if I think of anything else, but if I do, I'm going to cut it right here.
One of my favorite Easter eggs involves Nick Fury and how we will always attribute Samuel L. Jackson, regardless of whether or not he is a secret intelligence security officer for a black ops shadow government, whatever affiliation, or he's a Jedi. We're always going to affiliate him with one role in particular. A role where he shine like a jewel, perhaps.
So, until next time, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Till next time, take care.